You know, with a hat like this, I fit in very well for Mardi Gras in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's come and gone, and there is a lot to talk about. So much that for the first time in my review video, there's actually more in the description of my review of New Orleans, Louisiana, a brief description of what it's like there. And there's so much to talk about. Normally when I do a review of a place, I talk about what was good compared to what was bad, and I would separate. Well, for this, I'm going to have to combine them along with the description in the video. Otherwise, this will be a 45-minute video. So, bear with me. I'm going to try to keep this short and simple. Mardi Gras was absolutely out of control. In a good way, but out of control. New Orleans, Louisiana, the party was rocking. And it was rocking in a way where life would be so great if we could just party like that all year long and just get paid to do it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Which, you know, according to an old friend that I talked to leading up to Mardi Gras, basically, that kind of party life is not something that happens all year round, even though it's a fun time in New Orleans, basically all year round, but it's really Mardi Gras where that party really happens. Basically, the diversity of the wildness that you're allowed to exuberate through Mardi Gras, you know, is something that I have not felt in person. Closest thing is when, you know, looking up some old school photos of New York City, the way it was back in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s compared to how it is now. That was the only time I ever saw that kind of diversity all in one spot with everyone getting along. Here I'm actually seeing it in person. And even though that it was Mardi Gras, that's just how New Orleans is in general all year long. You know, whether you're a cross-dresser or a guy in a business suit, you know, looking like Tony Stark from Avengers all day long. You know, there's always something for you in New Orleans, and it's always something where everyone can just be together, no matter what. Not a perfect city, of course. You know, there were spots where I was walking around, and I'm literally thinking to myself, well, gee, no wonder why the crime rate here in New Orleans is as high, because look at what's happening around here. That's how I felt. And even the people of Louisiana would say that New Orleans has its rough spots. There were definitely things I could not record that only happens during Mardi Gras. Girls flashing their tits to get beads handed to them from the balconies. That I thought I would never see in my whole life in public. New York City, no way in hell would women be allowed to do that and have a good time, but somehow in New Orleans it was acceptable. Basically, there were other things happening in the street that I could not record of what was going on. YouTube would definitely delete my account if I did that. Nothing too bad, but crazy nonetheless. The girls flashing their tits, that was the, you know, subtle thing that I can mention happening on the streets. But between that and the parades, and the great restaurants, you'll never run out of food in New Orleans, even though sometimes it would feel like you are kind of running into the same kind of restaurant over and over and over again. You know, they're really big on their oyster bars. They sell fried alligator, and their Cajun Creole specialties are all over the place, even though it's pretty much the same thing. So it can get a little boring, but not really. They have other things They have aquariums, museums, historic museums, things that you can do that aren't Mardi Gras like, that you can explore and learn about New Orleans. It really was a special place and a special time of people just having fun and not caring who was looking at you, no matter how many were there. And it was really something special, something that also happens not during Mardi Gras, but it's not as crazy as Mardi Gras. New Orleans, not Mardi Gras, is like level 5, and Mardi Gras takes it to level 25. Let's put it that way. But it's still something very enjoyable. Go to New Orleans, Louisiana, during or not during Mardi Gras. You'll have a great time, but I definitely recommend going to Mardi Gras. That's definitely where it's at. And if you want more of a description of what New Orleans is like, read the description below, and have a great day.